It's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 141st episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week is like so amazing because we're so excited to be speaking with the medium and social media extraordinaire, Terr Cacilia. She is going to be joining us to talk about whether it's possible to speak to the spiritual world. Yes, I said it. You did not hear me stutter. So it is it's going to be interesting, right? So before we dive into that kind of conversation and hold on to the horsies, guys. This is going to be interesting. So I have to do a couple of things. I have to ask you a couple of questions and I need you to answer them honestly to yourself or out loud, whatever your jam is, guys. First, have you downloaded this episode on the Podbean app? If the answer to that question is yes, yay, we adore and love you because that is the best way to not only listen to the show, support the show, but also join the conversation, which is what we're doing every single week for WokeNFree Wednesday. So make sure you do that. If you're like, guys, you're amazing, we love you, can't get enough, but we're not into adding more apps on the phone or however you're consuming this, a little bit of tears are shed, but we'll get over it. What we do ask then is make sure that you are subscribed and follow to the show on whatever platform you are listening to this if you aren't doing it through the Podbean app. So whether that's through iTunes, that's TuneIn, that's Stitcher, that's Google Play, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, we're everywhere. For instance, if you go to WokeNFree.com and you go to the listen tab, you'll be able to see all the different places that we're at. It's like 30 plus. It's just outrageous. It's just like world domination at this point.
Yeah.
So make sure that you pick your platform of choice and you support, you subscribe, you follow, and you capture and listen there, wherever you're doing it. And then also, if you subscribe via email, you'll get an email reminder every week when we have a new episode. So that's also really a fun way to be involved and engage with the show there. So don't forget to do that. Now, when it comes to sharing, of course it's caring, absent COVID-19. Absent COVID-19. Just because everybody's getting let out, don't lose your horses or lose your minds. Clean your hands, cover up your face, stay home if you can.
I've done that all my life.
Word. Well then, hey, you're good to go, sir. So good for you. God bless you. But for others as well. Look at God. Make sure you are sharing this episode with friends, with family. By gosh, share it with strangers. Just get it out, get the word
That's
out.
True.
We can always be the best motivators and best promoters of anything that we love and we're passionate about. So we entrust that you will get the word out every single week because that's what WokeNFree Nation does. When it comes to hollering at us on social media, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest at WokeNFree. And then 90 seconds. We ask for 90 seconds of your time. Y'all have a lot of hours if you are not working, a lot of time. Even if you are working, you got 90 seconds to review the show, guys. Review it on iTunes. 5 stars. Review it on whatever platform you want. And give us your feedback, guys. We've appreciated the 5-star reviews that we've gotten so far. On each person who's reviewed us on iTunes and given us 5 stars, which is really amazing and really beautiful. So give us your reviews on the platforms you listen to the show at. And we definitely can't wait for you to continue to listen and join the conversation every single week at WokeNFree.com.
All right, so we're going to start with our little question that we do before starting every episode. We like to share a little bit. All right.
I've been so excited for this part.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you never know what it's going to be. So.
I know.
So yeah, well, as you know, we like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode. And last week we shared, would you rather run at 100 miles per hour or fly at 10 miles per hour? This week, we're asking, which of these states would you rather visit, Alaska or Hawaii?
Hawaii. That's where I want to take my honeymoon with my fiance. So that's
Ooh,
how.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm with Terr. Yeah, definitely Hawaii. I want to do some whale watching, even though that scares me, but I'm deeply fascinated by it. And just Alaska.
But can't you do whale watching in Alaska too?
You can.
Yeah.
I think they have some of that.
But it's like better weather there. And also,
You prefer
I want to
the
learn
weather.
how to do the hula dancing situation like that. Yeah, that'd be fun.
So the one thing, I mean, I definitely would rather visit Hawaii, but I'm interested in Alaska because of that, like 30 days of sunlight or something, where the sun basically doesn't go down for a part of the year. Like that's so cool.
30 days a night.
It goes up above. It looks like it's going to set, and then it comes right back up again. I think that's so cool that happens in Alaska. So
creepy.
I mean, I kind of do want to visit Alaska at some point just to like see that happen, like to be up. Like to go to sleep and the sun is still up, and to wake up and the sun is still up. That's just so crazy to me.
That's awful. But Hawaii first, then.
Yeah, I'd rather visit. But if I had to choose between the two, I think I'm going to go for Hawaii because the weather. I mean, Alaska's going to be different.
Deep questions indeed.
That's what it's all about.
Oh my! But I think we can get this party started, right?
All right. Well, yeah. So we'll get it started off with. Can you tell the WokeNFree Nation who you are and what do you do?
So I'm Terr Cacilia. I'm a style and spirituality entrepreneur. I was one of the youngest plus size fashion magazine editors. I worked in the beauty industry and the fashion industry, and have decided to pursue full-time disability that I've had my whole life and share it with other people.
Okay.
That's who I am.
So then you would say that disability makes you a medium, right?
Yes, I'm psychic medium, yeah.
Psychic medium. Okay. So to answer the question that both me and Khalil definitely want to talk about, and FYI guys, I've had Terr on my radio show, which I'll definitely include the link to, just because you can't get enough of Terr once you have her. So we definitely want to include links and all that good jazz. But like, straight out, can you speak with spirits? And if so, what's that process entail? How long does it take? Give us the real, raw, WokeNFree answer.
Okay, the real, raw, WokeNFree answer, exclusive. I can talk to spirit when they want to talk to me, because there are times when the person I'm doing a reading with is legitimately not ready for the answers that spirit wants to give them. So they'll either not talk to me, or they'll just be like, they're not ready to hear this, and let me know not to give the full message. That's a little controversial. I mean, and I've spoken to other psychic mediums, and I'm like, this like happened for you too, and they're like, yeah, sometimes you're just not ready for it.
Okay.
When did this start actually?
For me, I can remember, I mean, my earliest memory is like probably around 3 or 4 years old. But if I try and think back like further, I do like remember being like in my grandma's house, and my parents both worked the night shift, so I'd spend the night there. And I remember being like in my little, like the crib, like the bed with the crib side still up, and seeing like the start of a manifestation of spirit. Like as far back as I can remember. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying you saw them or you spoke to them at that age?
At that point, I saw them, and then probably around 3 or 4 years old, there was actual conversation happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're familiar, but I know I have to bring this up for Khalil. So there's a comedian that we adore named Paul Mooney.
Oh, man.
You can ask that.
We're going to go in. We got to keep it WokeNFree. So, Terr, Paul Mooney was on stage, and he was giving his comedic bit, and he was like saying, the ghost, that the celebrity ghost, the homeless ghost, this ghost. He was saying all sorts of craziness. And he said, white people, there are no ghosts, because if there were ghosts, all the slaves would come back and F you up. And this is for Paul Mooney.
Oh my
for me.
God.
So, Terr, what happened to the slave ghosts?
What happened to the slave ghosts?
Why don't the slaves come back when the ghosts come back? And if so, why are they not messing with people?
Okay. Oh my God. So, very good question. Here's what I think. Where to start? I've had an experience actually with a small, like, African American. She looked like she would have been probably a slave, and it was in like the servant quarters of my grandparents' old house. And she did not look at me very friendly. And I was a kid when that happened. But if I think that, like, happens to people, can I curse?
Well, you can do it. It's just going to be
me out.
It's going to be beeped.
Okay.
You can speak freely, but you will be bleeped.
Yeah. All right, that's fine. But I think things do like, when people go on plantations and, like, if you watch like Ghost Adventures, like, things always happen to them. Like, so negative, they have negative attachments and all of that. And I think anyone who messes around with Pan-African, like, religion, you know, voodoo, etc., and that's not your bloodline, you are going to get messed up. That's not for you to, have anything to do with. There's a whole thing going on with a girl who died after, like, summoning, like, a spirit from hoodoo, and she's not of the culture. So I do think it's there. I do think that's an issue that people come across.
But don't you feel like it would be, like, because of all the slaves that died, wouldn't there be massive manifestation activity? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or did they transcend? I mean, I don't know if you can answer this, but what are the qualifications to become a spirit? Not that there's like an application process, but like, what's the difference between living and dying and then and going, I don't know, and then dying and then coming back and this manifestation? And then also, I think Khalil had a question about, you know what, Casper.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, we could hear her answer to your question.
So you answer me that I think Khalil has a follow-up. Yeah.
Okay. What's the qualifications to be a ghost?
Yes.
Well, from my experience, it's like, this is so lame, but like unfinished business, or like sudden death. So some of the two strongest spirits that I ever came across, one was a drug overdose, and then the other was a car accident. And they were both traumatic, how they happened, and sudden. And I think that, this is my theory, part of you fractures off of, like, your essence, and that's the part of you that remains and becomes a ghost. It's that's my, like, thought. It has to do with, like, what happens to your energy in that moment, where part of you transcends. And I also think it has to do with how much of a religious foundation or, like, faith foundation that you have, how much you're able to transcend or not. And I think, going back to the slave thing, I've never thought about that really in depth that much, but I almost think that, and this is because I believe in heaven and hell, that why would God send them back down to be ghosts if they have been through so much and they deserve to be in heaven?
But that's,
you know what I mean?
Because are you, so in your paradigm of heaven and hell, where do ghosts fit in that? Is that a celestial, like, is that a divinity of God, like, or is that a divinity of the devil in your ideology?
I mean, I think it could be either. I think there's positive and negative in both, because I think they're, like, again, it's like a fracture of yourself. So is it were you a positive person that fractured off in this realm, or was it a negative part of you that fractured off in this realm, or like what part of the timeline or energy, like, field are you on? Have you transcended to?
Oh, that's interesting. Huh.
Because the thing with, like, what I think about with ghosts is, I think somewhere along the lines, it has to do with, like, energy and timelines, and how are we functioning, and how many planes are there. There's so much that we still, like, don't know. And, like, maybe the reason that, like, the, whatever, it's like the parapsychology hasn't been, like, accredited in, like, academia is because we're not connecting it to, like, another science, where all of a sudden, if we put them together, it would make sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's my spiel on that. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. Yeah, that's thought-provoking for sure.
Now, what do ghosts actually look like? Do they look kind of like how they show it on TV, like Casper, and they're white and wispy with bald round heads, or are they like detailed figures?
Ask her the question you want to ask her.
That's the question.
That was that.
No, remember?
I don't
do they
remember
look
the
like
question.
Casper, and are they friendly ghosts?
Oh.
That was the question.
Oh, dude,
and I was like,
the original question. I forgot about that one.
You tried it. He said, I could ask her if they're ghosts, and if they look like Casper, and if they were friendly ghosts.
I forgot about that, actually.
I can't even with you. I can't. Nope. Not today.
Oh my god.
But today is the day. So go ahead, Terr.
Well, I've never seen a ghost that looked like Casper. What I see, and I'm not speaking for like all psychic mediums, but what I see are, if the manifestation does happen like outside of my mind, because a lot of the times it's like a movie that I've never seen before, and it's like memories, and that's how I'm seeing it. But if they are strong enough to manifest, and I do see them, they look like a person. They look like however they want to display themselves, like at whatever point in their life. A lot of the times it's like young adulthood or childhood. But yeah, I've never seen a ghost that was like, a little Casper bald bowling ball head ghost.
Okay.
And are they friendly? If they were friendly, a lot of the time they're not friendly. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. I mean, part of their personality still remains. But again, I think it goes back to like what part of them fractured off and like remained.
But all right, I wanted to step back to the looks. So, because I'm trying to get a feel of how they look. So when you see them, do they appear just like a person? How do you know it's not an actual person there? And how do you know it's a ghost? Like, what's the difference if you see a ghost or you see a person? Is there a difference or no? Like, is the ghost translucent, or what's
when I was younger, I was not able to tell the difference. And I'm in the process of writing a book right now, and there's stories about when I was like in Girl Scouts. We went to a nursing home and we had to go talk to a resident, and I like spoke to this resident. And then I went to my troop leader and I had to tell them, like, what did you learn from this resident? I'm like, I told them like who I met. They're like, all right, introduce us to them. So we couldn't find them. And my troop leader asked the, head nurse or whatever, and she's like, oh no, like that resident passed away. So I'm like, no, I just had a conversation with this woman. So when I was younger, I was not able to decipher the difference. Now, it's like an internal instinct where I'm just like, oh, you're not real. And then sometimes they just appear at the end of my bed, and I'm like, well, you're not my fiance, so I'm hoping you're not an intruder. Yeah.
So,
but you can't touch them, though.
Yeah, like, can you touch them? What colors?
Can they touch objects? Do they move through objects?
I mean, I have had like attachments where they've been able to move things, and like if I go to someone's home and that's like their house, they're like moving stuff. And like when I've gone for like home readings, be like, so they like to knock the phone off of like the like the island in the kitchen or this, that, or the other thing. I'll be able to like sense it, what's happening.
So like there's so many skeptics, right, who don't believe in the practice that you have and your abilities. What do you say to them? And Khalil being one of these people. I'm with you. Yes, I'm with you, and there are ghosts. I believe I've seen ghosts as well. Khalil doesn't believe me. So I feel you. But for people like Khalil who are like, okay, what do you say? Why? How could you make a skeptic believe in the spiritual world?
I think there's a couple of layers to this. One, I think skeptics are necessary in everything. So I'm not mad or against skepticism. I think it's necessary. Different opinions are beautiful. That's a part of the human experience. I can't make you believe, because if it wasn't happening to me, I wouldn't believe. So I think it's something where it needs to happen to you Um, you know, because I like numbers, I like books, I like knowing what I know. Like, if this did not happen and I didn't have like Grandpa George at the end of my bed at 3 a.m. telling me to talk to like his granddaughter, I'm like, well, I don't know who that is. And then a couple days later, I meet his granddaughter. I'm like, oh, he belongs to you. Then I wouldn't believe that happens. I would just say, you know, keep an open mind. I'm not a person who likes to lie, so I wouldn't be like trying to play with people's emotions on such a high level thing unless I was the truth. And I mean, I haven't been wrong in a reading yet, and these are complete strangers.
And walk WokeNFree Nation through that, because I'm not sure if everyone knows, what does a medium do? Like, why do people come to you for what services are you offering, and what are people seeking when they want to work with a medium?
So for speaking for myself, people come to me for usually closure or validation of like their loved one's passing. I also do psychic like energy, and I just kind of try to help them decipher their past, present, and future, just like what they've been dealing with. And I do not do astrology because we're made of stardust, and I just feel like, why wouldn't that influence us? But when people come to me for a reading, you know, I always say to them after I do my whole spiel is, my intention is your intention. So whatever you want to get out of this, I'm here to deliver that for you. And then I just try to give them the validation or closure that they are looking for. And just deliver the messages that I'm receiving.
So if someone just randomly comes to you and let's say they wanted closure on, I don't know, a past relative, and I know you're saying earlier that the spirits, they just come and speak to you. It's not like you can go seek out them. How do you get them to come out if someone's just asking about this, you know, this past relative, or what do you do in that case?
So what happened, I would do my opening, say my intention, and then I usually probably sit for a minute and I just open myself up, and I'm just like in my mind and my third eye, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, I'm here. This is your opportunity to relay any messages. You know, like pretty much like, speak now or forever hold your peace. And they will come through and deliver what they want to say, or show me what they want to show me. And it comes through my head and it comes out my mouth.
So you're a conduit.
And and sometimes I don't even know like what I'm saying. You know?
So do you feel like another entity is taking over your body to deliver this message, or are you delivering the message?
Say that they take over my body, but sometimes it'll be like describing something from like 1940 or something, that how am I going to know that? So they're providing me with the information to deliver. Because there was a reading that I had where this woman's grandfather came through, and like he described like how they would fix a wagon, or it was like bizarre, and like I have literally no interest in that, and I have no idea how I described details to her, and I mean how I don't care about that. I don't care, like I don't have any knowledge on that. And it just came out like, and I was just like, oh, this would happen, you know. So
you're saying you have to first kind of do like a little bit of a ceremony to have this happen, right? You're not just saying like now they're not ghosts hanging with you right now, right? Like you have to do something.
Sometimes if I know a person, they will come to me. Like my friend Nicolette, like her grandpa came to me. I didn't know who that was for like a hot minute, and then we hung out, and he all of a sudden it came right back to my mind. I'm like, oh, this is who you want me to connect you with. And I try not to read my friends, but if something like that happens, I will like deliver the message. Yeah.
So this, I think, is a question that maybe Khalil might be thinking. I don't know. We'll see. So have you ever been accused of this experience and this ability as being something not like medium, not being a medium, but like being accused or questioned of your psychological status? You know what I mean? Like, do people say maybe you're just hallucinating, or you have like a split personality, or like it's
my God.
And how do you address that?
I mean, first of all, totally understand the question. But I mean, I'm of sound mind. Like, I go about my day like everybody else, you know? It's just, I mean, I don't see how, can I do another story? Can I give another example?
Yeah.
So in 2016, I had to buy a new car, okay? So pick the car out, have to meet the financial guy, right? I'm sitting there and I'm like, I got the feeling. And I said, I looked at my mom and I said, she knows at this point I've read people in the grocery store, we've been in Michael's craft supply store, and I would just walk up to people. I'm like, and then I just give my spiel. So sitting there and I'm like, somebody's here, I need to talk to them about this. I'm getting like all of this like information in my mind from the spirit. So we walk in and sit down and the financial guy comes into the office and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, no. And he's like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Here's your rate, all this stuff. And I'm like, so, I'm a medium. And when I tell you my mom gripped my thigh so hard and she was like, not now. I'm like, I have to do it. I'm like, did you recently lose your sister? And like, it's just like word vomit. It's just coming out of my mouth. And he's like, gives me this look. And I'm like, was her name Deborah? And he's just like, I mean, his eyes look like they're going to bulge out of his head. And he was like, yes. I'm like, she just wants you to know that you're taking really great care of her boys because his sister had died of a drug overdose, which I went over to, you know, disclose that I like understood that from her, and that he was now the guardian of her children. I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. How did I know? So I just don't. And I'm sound mind and body. I'm buying a car. Like, how is that supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Unless this is possible.
So, I mean, I have a theory on it. I'll put it out there. I don't believe in like spirits or any of that stuff. But what I believe could happen, and I don't know if it did happen, is that possibly people have the ability to read each other's thoughts because our thoughts exist on they're like exist in like an electromagnetic field sort of. It's like, you know, the electrons are sent from
like
neutron to neutron, not vibrating, but they're actually sent and stored in neutrons, like biological matter. But electricity does generate other fields when it's moving. Like when you have a current going through a wire, that'll generate a magnetic field. So I'm thinking that our brains might be generating fields that other people can pick up on, and maybe some people are stronger at picking up on waves than others. And then I also believe that
telepathic. You would
possibly telepathic, but then I believe another thing that's happening is that our minds pick up other things that maybe other people are thinking. So it's kind of like, it's almost like we're connected to another type of internet. Like everybody's connected to it. So everybody else knows everybody else's thoughts. So meaning somebody might have seen like a sign that something went on sale, and somebody across the world might be able to get that message that, somebody saw that thing went on sale. I think that's a possibility. That's what I think.
You don't think?
I don't think that it's a spirit thing. I think it's possible because I'm only thinking that just based on, you know, what science has shown us. Like there's been experiments to try to test if spirits exist, if there's any of that, and nothing's come up yet that's shown that, it's definitely spirits. There's some other sort of energy that we're not accounting for that's causing whatever and such to happen.
Hey there. Do you have a book that you want to share with the WokeNFree Nation? Are you a business owner looking to share your product or service with the podcasting world? Well, guess what? You can book an ad with us on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. We're super excited to speak with you about curating a unique ad that will get your message across the WokeNFree platform. So go to the Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokenFree.com, because WokeNFree is more than a podcast. It's a way of life and offers an innovative way to promote your platform in the exploding podcasting space.
And the only one, kind of going back to one of the things you said about spirits, and I'm always wondering about that. So I know you said the spirits sometimes move things. Now, have you ever caught that on camera? Something like that? Or
see the skeptic?
I'm not against skepticism. I like I said, I haven't even like videotaped any of that stuff I mean, there's plenty of evidence on TV and if you look online, if that's what
I
you
can't
want to
trust
believe
online
it.
because
But
the
I don't,
online thing is,
exactly.
yeah, you can't go by
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But you personally,
I
so
have
you haven't
never,
captured it?
no, but I've had experiences like that, especially in my grandma's old house. That place, there's some kind of energy going on there where we've had things fall over. We saw a hairbrush move on its own, and we hear voices. And that's one place I know she knows that there's something going on there, and my grandmother's very, very afraid. She's an old Italian woman. I will not bother her, but when she passes away, before they sell that house, I want to do a full investigation there, because 100% you would capture something. I would be almost willing to guarantee my life on that.
That's really interesting.
So many experiences that we've had there.
And
my uncle who's in the Coast Guard is this place is haunted, and he's a Virgo and he's in the Coast Guard, and he's a man's man, and he's this place is haunted.
Well, so that begs the question also then, with zodiac signs, are there certain personalities or signs, I'm a Virgo and Khalil's a Leo, are Virgos more susceptible to, or are certain signs more susceptible, or they don't talk to each other? Those are just two totally separate systems.
No, I think that there's a connection, and if you have a lot of Pisces in your natal chart, then you're also more, I guess, susceptible to having paranormal experiences. And I also think there is a level of Virgos are more in the mind, and I feel that energetic, I don't want to say it's a higher vibration or how I want to explain it, but I think there's more of that going on compared to my Aunt's a Leo, and she's never had a paranormal experience. But I think that it has to do with at what level are you I'm not saying one's higher than the other. I'm not trying to say that, but at what level is your logic, your thinking process at? Is that I feel that's what I'm trying to say.
So I'm more open to it, and my traits, allow me to be more open to it.
Lean
and
you
so,
that way. Yeah.
I mean, because I've told Khalil all the time, I've seen people in our old house. I saw a man with a top hat on. He looked like it was from the 1800s.
I have explanation for that though already.
He was standing in my in the doorway to our bedroom, and I hadn't watched a movie with that time period in a long time, and he was just staring at us, and I was just my gosh.
This is what I love about humans. I love this about humans. We all think we're just all so perfect and that our minds are infallible.
Well, no, people don't think
that. But I'm just saying, because we'll have an experience, and just because everything about it seemed real, we'll classify it as real when we don't realize that everything that we take in is a process. Our mind is taking things and it's trying to make sense of reality. It's not necessarily what is the actually existing. We can't say what is actually real. It's just, this is what it seems like to us. Our interpretation of the world is not the same as a dog's interpretation, nor a bird's, nor bats. So our interpretation, to me, is sometimes just off. So you seeing those faces, that happens because humans love to see patterns. So you might have seen a light reflecting off of a mirror, and it came together as a face. And sometimes I look at the floor, I see a dirt spot, and it looks like a face staring back at me. But I don't say that.
I saw light creeping through the window, and I knew it wasn't.
You saw a zombie.
I saw zombie faces, it was a row of, and then spinning skulls. Yeah, but I knew it was light. But I was but it was making that image in my mind, and I was creepy, but I knew it was light. At that moment, but that guy, I really believe he was there. I don't know.
But again, I'm just
purpose was, but
I'm just a person of proof and repeatability. So that's the only problem that I have. But that's me.
I have a question.
Yes,
Natasha. In your family heritage,
yes,
is there any voodoo, hoodoo, Santeria like that? Because an image like that kind of reminds me of the Baron Samedi, which is a part of hoodoo. And I don't know if you're connecting. I'm not trying to feed into it or anything. I'm just giving you my first thought. Would maybe somehow be some kind of visitation through that? But again,
my dad, both my parents are from Jamaica. And so my dad said he was younger. He left Jamaica when he was 10 or something. And he told me one time he was like playing outside or something like that, and he said he thought he saw or heard something like that was happening in a house. So like he, I think, has believed in that, and so I grew up with that kind of acceptance, right? That permission. And it's funny because Khalil's mother is also
she's
super into spirits. She has said that her deceased brother has called her in a dream and talked to her. Like she's all about the spirit world. That's what's so funny about Khalil, and then also his brother totally like putting the kibosh on that for themselves. But for me, I definitely, I think it's a real thing. It's scary. I think that personally, I think there's like, we're living in one plane, and I feel like the spirit world is around us, and they, like you're saying, they come and send messages when they want to. But again, I think the issue that me and Khalil will talk about is just like, but why, right? Like, what would be the purpose of having spirits exist? Do they exist forever? Can you have, do they get closure? Are they here? Is that purgatory? Like, I think there's so many unknowns with it. And so it's like, it's easy for a skeptic to be like, there's no purpose, thus it doesn't exist. And then, and then also I'm just like, but then what's the, like, again, what happened to the slave ghost? Like, everything comes full circle. What happened to the slaves? Why are they not making a ruckus in the White House?
Oh, man.
What happened to the slave ghost? But no, seriously, what happened?
What happened?
Like, can you talk to them and you can ask what happened?
I mean, I'll try, but I don't think I want to be the person who does that.
I know. Or like Titanic. Where did all their ghosts go? They're just in the ocean. Yeah. Are they up? Like, what happens like in like you're saying, like in traumatic situations, or like Dahmer, right? When we have serial killers and they kill all those girls, are those girls now trapped in this kind of ghost form because their lives were taken in a traumatic way? Like,
and according to Scientology, we have millions of ghosts circling the earth as we speak because there was a horrible war a couple of 100,000 years ago.
Hello.
No, literally, that's what they said. So that's one of the theory. That's another theory on where the ghosts lie.
That's crazy.
I didn't make that one up.
So many questions there.
There's a lot of questions, which
there's a lot of questions there.
I guess then, just because we could talk about this forever.
Well, yeah, you can go on and on.
When it comes to being a medium, what would you say are the pros? What would you say are the cons?
Pros, I would say being able to help people. Con, constantly having to explain myself and like try and come up with other ways to like, how can I make this make sense to people? Because it is so like woo-woo. And I mean, it's just like, if you trust me, you trust me. If you don't, you don't. And I have to be fine with that. And, that's, I can only prove myself so many times, and unless we're having like the experience. So like, I don't, it's a whole thing.
No,
I want to read like
I believe you.
So bad right now, but like, I'm going to keep it like.
Oh, read me or read Khalil?
Well, I don't know who, but oh man. So I have, I feel like it came up with, as soon as you said about Khalil's mom and her brother, and all of a sudden I had like, I wrote it down. So I wrote down an R. And I don't know, they just wanted to, what I thought of was ray of sunshine. And that there was somebody on the other side who wanted to communicate like with their ray of sunshine, or they've like see like a small child and they're like so happy that they're alive and that they see them. And that was like my first thing, and then I was like, I don't want to talk about this.
I'm literally in tears. Her brother's name was Rick, and Uncle Rick was so amazing. He was crazy as hell, but he was amazing. And that, like, when you said R, I just like literally just was starting in tears, like, because we miss Uncle Rick so much, and he was just I feel like his mom's never been the same without Uncle Rick, and it's just, yeah.
I will tell you, if he put the moves on, like, as soon as his energy came through, I'm like, you're a lot, and I don't know if I can multitask like this.
He was everything. I mean, Uncle Rick was everything. Oh, God. Oh, wow.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry.
We miss Uncle Rick. Don't we miss Uncle Rick?
Yeah.
We miss Uncle Rick. Oh, and it was just so hard how we died.
Taken too soon.
Oh, God. Oh, that was so crazy. Well, yes, you tell Uncle Rick that we love him and we miss him. And we hope he's okay. Oh, God.
He's very good.
Oh, man. That is rough. Okay. Well, yes, you do help people. And that's, wow. Well, I don't even know what to say. How about this? If people want to cry on their own with you, where do they go to have their cry session with you, Terr?
Yeah. Oh, they can. Sorry, I'm like still channeling here.
Serious. Go ahead,
so you can get in contact with me on terrcacilia.com. I'm also Terr Cacilia Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and my DMs and email always open. And schedule a reading. I have 3 days a week. You're open for it, so
yes,
I'm ready to help. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Khalil, do you have last minute thoughts or questions or?
I mean, there's many questions that could be asked, but
Yes.
It was good being able to actually speak with a medium because I've never done that. So it was definitely interesting hearing that perspective.
I feel like you helped a lot of people today, Terr. This is incredible. I mean, yeah, we can do this over and over again. This is amazing. We gotta have you back on. Maybe to even do a reading. That would be really interesting.
I would love to. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
I think I'm gonna write down what's coming through right now for that.
Absolutely. Well, yes. If you ever have messages from a small little Jamaican woman whose name is Kathleen, she was my Aunt Kat. She was my most favorite person before I met Khalil. She died when I was 8, and I have missed her every day of my life ever since, and I will continue to miss her every day that I don't have her. Tell her I say hello, and I miss her badly.
But she's with you, Natasha.
Yes.
And I think she lives within you.
Yeah.
That energy. Yeah. And that's why she's there supporting. She sees you supporting people, and that's who she wanted you to be. And she's with you in every action that you do like that.
I know, it's so hard. It's just because we can't have them, and it just seems like it's like a loss. But you're right, she's with me. I you know what it was? I wasn't allowed to go to the funeral because my parents thought I was too young, but I just felt like, I didn't get to say goodbye to her. And I just have just felt like that hole forever. But
I understand that.
It's a lot. We have to go. We can't make Khalil more uncomfortable. Too many feelings.
I'm not uncomfortable. I'm just soaking it in.
He's the kind of person where if you cry in front of him, he's like, "That's so fascinating. Why are those tears coming down your face?" He's like full on robot mode. You're like, I know.
I respect it. It's fine.
He's like, this is so interesting that you do this on this planet. It's so fascinating. That's who my husband is. That's
just
amazing.
Analytical in nature.
Yes. Heartless of the best of them.
You could say that. I don't know if you'd be correct, but you could say that.
Well, yes, you simulate, right? Heart presenting. The way that he goes about it.
I told you anything could be simulated.
Indeed. Even emotions. Indeed.
Yes, exactly.
So, WokeNFree Nation, you will have all of the links and social media handles of Terr. We thank you for coming on and sharing your story. This has been completely unexpected of a conversation, but I adore you. This is amazing. Do you have any last minute words or wisdom or thoughts that you'd like to share with WokeNFree Nation?
Just like, I just want to say, I'm not against skepticism. I do think it's important, and it's important to ask questions. And if you have questions, explore. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
Absolutely. Guys, if you want a reading, if you want to understand more about the spiritual world around you, or if you want to have a healthy debate with her, please go to terrcacilia.com. We'll give the links on WokeNFree.com. Thank you, Terr.
Yes,
You're
thank you for coming on.
amazing. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. I love the work you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. You have a good day, girly.
You too. Bye-bye.
It is that time again. The coming to the end of our 141st episode of Woke and Free. Creepy.
Yeah.
I
would say so, because there's other things, I think, speaking on this episode.
Matcha.
Exactly. You got it right.
Exactly. Good love to everyone who listened and is we can't wait to hear from you guys what you thought about this conversation. If you want to get in touch with Terr, make sure you do. She was amazing. This was quite the episode, discussing whether it is possible to speak with the spiritual world with our special guest, medium and social media extraordinaire Terr Cacilia. Wowzers. If you want to put your thoughts in, please make sure you've downloaded the Podbean app, so that way you can join the conversation and you can put in the comments what thoughts you have for us, what thoughts you have for the episode, all of that good jazz. Now, will we leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On our next episode, we will be discussing what values should we live by. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along the conversation. And make sure you tune in next week for Woke and Free Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest, like Terr Cacilia was on the show, then what do you have to do? You have to submit a topic for an upcoming episode to share how you feel, share your proposition, what you want to talk about, what movement are you starting, what business do you have that you got to get the word out. And you can find us on our Contact Us page. See how it's like repetitive? Like, yes. At WokeNFree.com. So that is WokenFree.com. When it comes to social media, you can always hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest at Woke and Free. And then sponsorships, guys. If you are looking to have a curated ad and be a sponsor for a month, be a sponsor for upcoming episodes, feel free to hit us up on our, wait for it, Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do, share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woke and Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.